Last night I had a little trouble falling asleep. I think what I needed was a good bedtime story. So I turned to Reddit, just cruising around, perusing, see if I could find anything that gave me the yawns and helped me go night-night. But I found something extraordinary. Something so stimulating I stopped any attempt at going to sleep and I just sat there bewildered by what I had just read. For at least 40 minutes, I just sat in silence, truly stunned, like a child who had just watched his first episode of Chris Angel's Mind Freak. My brain was blown out my ass. I couldn't imagine a world where this was real, but all of the evidence pointed to it being a genuinely true story. I did eventually hit the hay, and now, a full 9 hours later, I'm still thinking about this. So, I figured, why not share it with all of you? Perhaps this will have a profound effect on your life, or maybe it'll do something to help motivate you to not be like the guy in this story. It's a series of text messages between a man and a woman. And that's all I'll tell you for now. I don't want to get into any spoilers. I want you to come into this as unsuspecting as possible. Let's dive in. Previously on Dragon Ball Z, the two people in this text conversation were close friends for about 9 years. The Reddit poster is the woman in this story, and her male friend here had recently professed his love for her in a pretty creepy way. The feeling wasn't mutual, so it led to a bit of a disconnect between the two of them, and in an act of desperation, the male friend calls in the cringe artillery and starts bombarding her with memes, to which she finally responds, "Hey, I appreciate the memes." Real quick, I'd like to come in here with a PSA. I recognize that in the current climate of things, there's a lot of people that have lived their entire lives online without any actual social interaction, so I want this to be a teachable moment. Don't send memes as some kind of last-ditch Hail Mary. If you let something rip and it's not reciprocated, spamming memes isn't going to salvage the situation, it's only going to make it worse and even weirder. Her saying, "I appreciate the memes," is just a lie. No one's ever going to say that. Those words have probably not left the human being's mouth ever. Good morrow, sailor. I really appreciate the exquisite memes you've shared with me today. I was a little perturbed with our last conversation, but now that you've sent 1,000 memes, I see you've got a good heart. Thank you for this. And I'm speaking from experience here. I'm very knowledgeable in this field. I'm the authority on this matter. I've told this story before, but I'll just briefly repeat it. The very first girl I was ever flirting with and exchanging text messages with was back in high school, and she did not feel the same way about me as I did her. And in my weakest moments, I turned to the dark side and consulted the Sith Lords, and was advised to try and maybe like send goofy memes and ASCII art, because that was big back in the day. So I did. And guess what? It didn't fucking solve anything, it just made it even worse. I know how uncomfortable that must have been for her. So yeah, that is not the right play, to just start spamming memes and shit. But anyway, she continues the message by saying that she's only ever thought of him as a close friend and never really viewed him in a romantic way. So when he professed her love, it made things a little weird. They grew distant, they grew a bit hostile, but she thinks they can be friends again just as long as it's very clear that there is no romantic feelings in this relationship. She's just laying down the brass tacks and making things very clear, to which he responds, I certainly had my head on backwards, but as my friend, I really think you're fucking adorable, and every trip I've ever taken with you is so fucking precious. I've heard of a Japanese word called shibumi, and it's basically authority without dominance. Call me a simp, but I really think you have that. Code Red, he's not taking no for an answer. Jinkies, we're going too deep. He just busted out shibumi. Jesus Christ, we're in the end game now. Lord help us. He continues to spaghetti dump here for the novel that he's writing her. There's steam coming off of the touchscreen pad as he's writing. The most important takeaway here is a very specific line, a buzzword that gets dropped that I think is very important that we highlight. He says, sometimes it feels like my chivalrous interest with you is underappreciated or just unappreciated sometimes. The reason I point that out is because I'm pretty confident that the word chivalry is used exclusively by creeps. I don't think there's been a documented case of a normal person saying chivalry, especially not in this context. It's just like an immediate red flag word to drop, especially when saying that my chivalrous interest is underappreciated, it's not valued enough. It's just some certified weirdo Redditor energy, like tip in the hat, milady. It's no problem, you're welcome for holding the door open for you. Chivalry isn't dead, am I right? I'm the perfect example. No, of course, I'm just kidding, I jest. Chivalry can't die, because to die, it would imply that it was ever alive in the first place. Only a living thing can experience death, and chivalry is not a living thing, it's an idea. More of a social code, per se. He continues on, and then eventually tells her that she should like one of them so he doesn't feel crazy, to which he says, you're not crazy, I just need some time to think. Which I think is a perfectly reasonable response to all of this, but he gives her no time to think and immediately just comes back to, please, let me find favor in your eyes. I'm assuming he heard that in some kind of like indie song at some point, so he tried to throw that in here to see if it worked. So he's going full-blown Robert Frost now. Even then drops a picture saying daydream with me, and it's like the sun rising. So it's getting very emotional in here. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because it's him once again just begging for any kind of reciprocation, to which she just keeps saying she just needs some time to process all of this. But he's extremely impatient. His foot is fully on the gas and there's no turning back now. He is full throttle invested in all of this. He's using every possible cliche line imaginable, but he's not finding any favor in her eyes. It just keeps going. You're valid. Never really heard the extent of why I'm your friend, and I was like interrogating her. Why am I your buddy? Why am I your pal, huh? Tell me. I could tell you all day why you're my friend. Your voice is fucking music. I think you're brilliant. Just a brilliant person to be around. Really wish I could hug you. Fuck. This hurts. Then again, she reiterates, I need time to think. I will reach out when I'm ready. And now we've finally gotten past the introduction here and we're entering the climax. Welcome to the wacky zone. He once again gives her no time to reach out or process any of this. He reaches out pretty soon after everything, only a couple of days, and says, so is there any chance as your friend I could send you something explicit? She says, what do you mean? And then he goes, NSFW, which I'm sure all of you know what that means, but I'll break it down anyway. Not safe for work. Of course, she wasn't expecting this curveball, so she says, are you trying to make a joke right now? And then he goes, no, kind of a gamble. I will say this is a historic moment. You are witnessing the worst gamble in history. Congratulations, we all got to be a part of this. This is, by far, the absolute worst possible fucking gamble you could ever make. This is like betting 100% of your life savings on me getting taller. What the fuck are you, I don't understand how you think an out of nowhere nudie is going to somehow win her over and like somehow solve all of these problems. I just can't even understand that mindset, really. It just doesn't compute. Like, okay, I tried all the lovey-dovey, really mushy-gushy stuff with the favor in your eyes, your voice is like magic, or music. It didn't work. So let's try something a little more primal. Wiener. What about penis? Eureka! This might be the answer. Let's try it. She's once again just trying to make sure she fully understands the lunacy going on here, so she says, "Are you asking me if you can send me something sexually explicit? Respectfully." What a gentleman. A fedora tip to you, my gentle sir. That is sophisticated. Very respectful. Milady, doth thou wish to gaze upon my meat? And then he sends her a dick pic with his pinky out while holding it. An incredibly interesting play here, as if somehow his cock was going to hypnotize her and make her fall in love with him. So she eventually responds by pointing out how weird this whole interaction has become. She still only ever viewed them as friends and will only ever view him as a friend, and that she's very disappointed that he can't even respect that she wants some time to herself to process this entire weird interaction. She also drops a bombshell at the end by mentioning that she's currently in a relationship, so that was a big plot twist. This goober is doing all of this to a girl who is not interested and also in a relationship. The odds couldn't be more against him. Now, she used a word at the end that's about to change the entire course of this interaction. She said, "It sucked when you went all incel on me towards the end." That word, I had a big voice crack there, that's how powerful that word is. That one word ruffled this guy's feathers so much. You're about to see a full-blown ballistic breakdown from it. I respect that. Also, if I'm an incel, you're toxic, so let's not name call. She's toxic because she doesn't want to fuck him. Why is that even in your argument, that I can't get someone? I can. You choose not to. That's fair, but you didn't get to call me an incel because you declined. You go out of your way to say it. Why is that? Label me as anything else, like, for real. It's foolish for you to argue something like that. She gets taken off guard here, saying like, "Hey, whoa, pump the brakes, Buster. I didn't mean to offend you." She says, "I never said you couldn't get someone. What do you mean?" She never said that. Like, he is now just projecting some insecurities and reading between the lines on shit that doesn't exist. She just said his behavior was that of like an incel or something. And he keeps going. "You should know I'm anything but a little dick incel, so out of here with that shit." Again, she never even pointed out your penis or anything. She didn't call it small. Like, where is this coming from? He's fighting ghosts. I'm not even gonna pretend that's valid. You're with a fucking beta cuck to begin with. Maybe that's your type and maybe that's why we aren't together. Have fun with that. The mask has come off. He is unchained, unhinged, and unhappy. Your boyfriend's a beta cuck loser. That's the only reason you and I aren't together, because that's what you're into, beta cucks. You couldn't handle an alpha male testosterone titan like me, a real man who cries while he texts. She then goes on to say, like, look, if you find me to be toxic and all of this awful stuff, like, okay, then, you shouldn't be upset that we're not close anymore. And to this big message, he just responds by saying, "I'll see you in hell." And then she says r/nice guys, which this very much is an r/nice guys moment. Keep in mind, this is still like only a couple days after the whole poetic, "Allow me to find favor in your eyes, miss. Your voice is music, sweet music." And now it's, "What an excellent take on a 7-year waste of my fucking time." To which she responds, "So you're just waiting around until I'd eventually date you? That's on you, man." She's absolutely right. That is entirely on you. This dude played the long game, almost an entire decade of pretending to be her friend in the hopes that eventually you'll get to fuck her, I guess was the plan. That is a long commitment to a deep cover operation to stay in disguise, faking friendship, hoping that eventually you'll be able to have sex with her. And then he says, "How was I supposed to know you're only interested in half men?" I've never even seen that term used before. This guy's pulling all kinds of Insano-style phrases out of his ass now. "I spent 7 years just waiting for you to notice the difference, but I guess I bet on the wrong fucking horse." This goober spent 7 years pretending to be her friend, hoping that somehow she'd fall in love with him? This is craziness. This is a longer time spent undercover than Rob Lucci and the gang during the Water 7 arc of One Piece. Like, this is outrageous how long he committed to this ridiculous, diabolical plan. And now he's just full anime villain mode. I'm over you. That's why I asked if you needed a visual definition of the word endowed, because I bet you're never going to get that with the life you choose to live without me. Motherfucker, I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod. We have to pause here for a moment.
This summer want instant glow? Super light feel? Wait no more. नया वैसलीन ग्लूटाहायर इसके niacinamide और ग्लूटा फॉर्मूला में है विटामिन सी से 10 गुना ज्यादा दाम। A super light serum in lotion. First use से skin that visibly glows. Gluta Glow. Let it show.
I scored 390 marks in first attempt in 2000.
Power of reading. What does that even mean? That's not even possible. How could you have grown your penis for her? Was there no dick there to begin with, and then you just started, like planting the seeds and then taking care of it like summertime gardening? Like, what does that mean, you grew it for her? Is it a laboratory experiment like the Cybermen? Like, I don't understand. It's just such a bafflingly amazing sentence. She's also stunned, saying, I refuse to believe that these messages aren't satire. And then that sets him off even further. This entire relationship is satire. A joke. Your interest in men is a joke. The Wambulance is coming in hot. He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward, we're all Squidward. This whole relationship satire, it's all a joke, you're a joke. Fuck you. My interest in you is a joke. This is the first time I wanted to show someone my dick because I hate them. Fucking brilliant. r/nice guys, these nuts. She waits a while and then says, I think enough time has passed and I just genuinely want to know if you've had any remorse for the shit you said to me or if you truly believe it was all valid. And then he responds 7 hours later saying, let's find out if you're still seeing the Hat Man first. I don't know what that means, but then he comes back 2 hours later and said, I'm over you. You're wasting your time. So he's trying to flip this around on her like, you missed your opportunity with the golden goose. You missed your opportunity with the alpha. I've moved on, you harpy. I don't need you anymore, harlot. Listen, I've matured a lot. You clearly haven't. So you're wasting your time trying to talk to me now. You had your chance, you blew it. I'm sure you're kicking yourself now for this, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But then just to finish it off with the cherry on top, he quotes from before where he was offering to show her his wiener and says, I still mean this if you need clarification. And then comes back and says, except don't even bother asking for nudes. I have a girlfriend. Okay. I mean, this is quite the ride. What an adventure. She eventually just says, you know, what's wrong with you? We were friends for almost a decade. And then you go into this shit. Which is a reasonable response. Like, how did this happen? We have been friends for like 10 years. We've known each other for so long. Where did this come from? It is crazy. This whole situation was wild. And also, I'm calling fiddlesticks on that last statement from him. I don't believe he has a girlfriend. If we go back to like chapter 7 of this meltdown, he said that she was the first girl he wanted to show his penis to. So, I'm under the impression he's a virgin. And I don't think enough time has passed between those messages and these that he would not only lose his virginity, but then also have a girlfriend, especially given all of the behavior we're seeing exhibited here. So, I think he lied about that. That was probably just once again some kind of Hail Mary to make her jealous. Like, hey, listen, Toots. Got a girlfriend. Stay off of me. Can't send you nudes anymore. You blew it. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. That's on you. Yeah, you'll regret this for the rest of your life, clearly. Sorry. Have a girlfriend. Even though it's most likely a lie. But yeah, that's all there is to the story here. Overall, I think we can all agree that nice guys really do finish last. It is insulting that these two didn't end up getting married. This guy is a real catch, and it's just a shame to see that it didn't pan out. But yeah, overall, dropping the sarcasm, I actually feel really bad for the woman in this situation here. This is someone who was a close friend to her for a fucking decade, only to then find out that that close friend was actually just a complete piece of shit, loser, degenerate, who was only being her friend, trying to have sex with her down the line. I can't even imagine that kind of betrayal. That must have been fucking awful. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share this because I've been thinking about it like all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Yeah, today's one of those days. Just like chips and salsa at a Super Bowl party, I'm about to double dip in here into some drama. Last week I made a video talking about hypocrisy. In a nutshell, the situation was two YouTubers, Scott Schaefer and MewKitty, made content talking about Twitch streamers being hypocrites due to the promotion of Fansly during the Streamer Awards, and I was named in both of these videos, because prior to this I had mentioned that it was very weird when Aiden Ross pulled up Pornhub on stream in front of his audience, which consisted of a lot of kids, and meanwhile when Fansly was advertised during the Streamer Awards, I just laughed at it. So that's where the hypocrisy allegations come from. That's the genesis of it. And I thought it was an interesting talking point because of the subject matter, but I also wanted to defend myself from hypocrisy allegations that I felt were weightless. And that's what that video I made was all about. Now, Scott Schaefer, as I mentioned, tackled it from more of like a analytical standpoint, breaking down the problem itself. And I still do believe that his intentions are coming from a place of actually caring about the situation. However, the same can't be said about the other content creator, MewKitty. In the video I made covering this, I was very charitable with her intentions behind the content. I thought, I've thrown on the formal attire today because we need to discuss something very important. A huge loser named Bintellect. Big goofball, weirdo, lame-mo, behemoth creep. He is a big TikTok creator, and that's a word I'm using very loosely here, with 11 million followers, and I'm sure only people under the age of 10 have ever heard of him before. What he's become known for over the years is looking at tweets or comments, reading them out, and then going, hehehe, yeah. That's literally it. But sometimes it's a little hard to even muster a laugh, so what he'll do is he'll read one of the comments and then go, true. And then that's the whole TikTok. But I'm not here just to give him a little wet willy and laugh at him for all of his cringe. I am here to talk about something far more degenerate. But before doing that, I'd like to give a quick honorable mention to something else this piss stain of a person is notorious for doing. Threatening legal action against people that make fun of him. I've seen a couple videos on Bintellect now, after I've been informed of the situation, so I did a little digging. Apparently when people make fun of him, he gets super offended and will either try and copyright strike, take down the video, copyright claim it to make money from it, or even go as far as to just threaten to sue the person that made fun of him. You disgusting goblin, you make me sick. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Now, while I do think a legal battle with Benjamin over me making fun of him would be hilarious, I still just don't really feel like showing you any of his clips because it's just going to rot your brain and it's yucky. It's just trash. So, no reason for that. Let's get into what I want to discuss, the new information that came out about this weirdo. So, Bintellect recently made a podcast, I suppose, and he invited someone on named Jordan Max, and then things got really odd. He got super hostile, and she ended up posting about it, which led to this dam breaking, and we were flooded with cringe about Bintellect's behavior. Over the years with women. So this horny little goblin asks her before going on the podcast, do you want to make a video for OnlyFans? To which she says, when? He says, today. And then she's saying, no, you need to be tested within the last 14 days and have an OnlyFans creator account. But then he says, I mean a video for your page. Oh, what a benevolent saint. He was actually just thinking about her the whole time. He thought this would be a good opportunity for her to make some OnlyFans content with the great Big Bintellect. So she says, doing what? And he goes, I don't know what performs best on your page. I can literally see him doing this. Well, I mean, I don't know what we do. What do you do on OnlyFans? Maybe we could do that? So it's become pretty clear that Bintellect uses this podcast as a way of just fucking. It seems to me like the whole podcast existence is only here as a way of trying to get Bintellect laid. So he tries to leverage his big follower count to then invite on OnlyFans models and then ask if he can make content with them. It's pretty pathetic stuff, but we're only just beginning. He continues by saying, I was just thinking you're helping me with doing a video for my YouTube, so maybe I could help you with your OnlyFans. And she replies, I'm good, thanks. So then he goes, no worries. And then, hey, I'm gonna do the pickle video with someone else, thanks though. To which she asks why. So the pickle video he's referring to is the podcast was going to be a pickle tier list mukbang or something like that, a pickle mukbang. And it was her idea, it was Jordan's idea, and he's now kicking her out because she declined to do an OnlyFans video with him. So his answer to why was, to be honest, I thought it would just be fun to film and see where things go, but I got it. So he gets real sad and pitiful, like, no, I get it. I just thought it'd be fun. But it clearly won't be fun. I'm gonna do it with someone else then, how about that? So he goes real Neanderthal mode here. My wiener no get wet, we no eat pickle together on podcast. Goodbye. How dare you not do OnlyFans video with Bintellect? So then he says he's doing it with someone else. So Jordan, of course, gets really weirded out by this exchange. She posts it on Twitter, and then Bintellect himself, the man, the myth, the legend, reaches out in DMs to threaten to sue her if she doesn't take down the post. She even did a video proving that the DM is real from the real Bintellect account, just to 100% silence any possible doubt. Also, her response to it is great. She said, I will just be waiting to hear from your lawyers then, which is hardcore. Obviously, Bin's not going to sue her. I don't think he's ever actually gone through with the lawsuit. He uses it to try and bully people to do what he wants. To do what he wants them to do, rather. So, I don't think any lawsuit was ever coming. This was just a last-ditch Hail Mary from a desperate, lonely guy to try and get rid of the evidence of him being a creep. So, that was the whole interaction between Bintellect and Jordan, but after this tweet started popping off, well, the series of tweets started popping off, she then started getting DMs with more screenshots and more evidence of Bintellect doing this to tons of different women. This comes from someone else who had a very similar experience to Jordan. So Ben opens with, do you work tomorrow? They say, crazy busy day, but I don't work. And then Ben goes, let's make some content tomorrow. Not like that, but just film a podcast. So he immediately alludes to like, oh, not OnlyFans type content. I'm talking about just a wholesome podcast, you know, one the whole family can enjoy. Doesn't get an immediate response, so he goes, what do you think? He then waits about 2 hours more and he goes, you're killing me, gorgeous. So fucking embarrassing, Jesus Christ, that's so fucking awful to read. Yucky. And then he gives her about 3 more hours, and then he goes, you know what, I've been thinking about this OnlyFans thing, and I think I could make us a lot of money, straight up. And then she finally does reply saying that she's just been busy taking a mental health day. So he can't even go more than like 3 messages without bringing up OnlyFans. It seems like the only thing on this guy's mind is sex, and how he's never getting it, I guess, but is very desperate too, and will do it by any means necessary to try and achieve coitus. From everything I can tell, Bintellect has never done any kind of OnlyFans content on his own, or like any type of explicit content. He's just a professional TikTok giggler. All he does is giggle at Twitter messages or comments, and that's it. So clearly he's not wanting to dip his toes into OnlyFans for the sake of becoming like an OnlyFans creator. He just wants to have sex with these women. And he's using his podcast as a vessel to try and do that, it seems. After she told him about the mental health day she was taking, he responds with, hey, thank you. And then the following day at 6:52 a.m., so this guy must have been up all night masturbating, because it seems like that's the only thing on this dude's mind, he sends her a message saying, do you want to come over tomorrow night? Actually, are you down to come over tonight? Or are you just a flake? Doesn't even give her time to respond, just immediately gets combative. He immediately just goes into fucking ballistic bin mode. So you coming over tonight, or are you just a flake? Huh? Are you just a fucking succubus? Huh? Is that it? Huh? So you coming over tonight? And then he waits only like an hour and 40 after that, and then he's like, you know what? Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry, babe, but you're just too much of a flake. Bye. So then obviously she's like alarmed, like what the fuck is going on? So she says, you know, if you wouldn't have texted me so rudely calling me a flake after one day of not texting you, you might have stood a chance. I can see why you're single now. Goodbye. Which really just sends Ben off the rails. Yeah, whatever, go fuck yourself. Says the girl who's trying to make an OnlyFans. Good luck. Brother, all you talk about is trying to do OnlyFans content with them. It seems like you're trying desperately to get into OnlyFans but keep getting rejected and can't handle it. So how can you have the gall to try and shame them for it when you are desperately trying to do it yourself? Here's a wacky little Snapchat one. You want to come over here and spend some time with me? Because on a side note, I do think I could probably make us some money on OnlyFans. Bintellect fucks crazy into oblivion. That's redacted right there, like a CIA document. I really wonder what he said. I think it's Bintellect fucks crazy pussy into oblivion or something. But I'm just going off of what I can see poking out from underneath the redaction. I think that's what it is. But this is so goofy. He's speaking about himself in the third person in this one. And then he even tries bribery. If you come over, I'll give you $1,000. I just really want you. And they respond, I'm good right now. Don't try to bribe me with money. That's weird. And then he's like, no, that is weird. But I want to see you. This one's a lot more vintage Ben, so this was a different kind of relationship these two had as opposed to just the podcast OnlyFans hustle he keeps trying to run. So they start by saying, I guess it's just not meant to be. Ben says, facts, no hard feelings, but yeah, it ain't working. So then they part ways, or so it would seem. Ben has a couple of parting words here. He says, for your future self, if you're going to turn around on a guy and say, hey, I'm not down for friends with benefits shit, just say that before...
Hi guys, where the hell are you? Getting there. Yeah, I'm on my way. The new beauty shopping experience. Tira, forever you. Download the app now.
Or go before you go through all the bullshit. Boring as fuck. Not my problem that you turned around and quit drinking because you're an alcoholic and now pass out at 8 p.m. Fucking peace out, bitch. So Ben really, he went crazy. Ben lost it. This man, he was punching pillows, sending these texts with tears in his eyes, and he got real nasty. They respond to it saying that they're far from an alcoholic, and then Ben just keeps going crazier, saying, no, you're an alcoholic, and you're full of shit. And he's like, anyway, I'm done. I just had to say that because you're full of shit. They respond saying that they weren't interested in being with Ben, and he should have taken the hint a while ago. But then Ben he goes absolutely berserk again. She says that she's wasting people's time and that she needs to just shut up and go to bed. And then she says, it sounds like you need some anger management help, which is a very fair assessment. I think he desperately needs some assistance with this anger management. And then Ben tries to flip this shit around like, how dare you? Are you kidding me? So he goes, be careful who you say that to, Maria, because there are people who really need help with that. So Ben lets out a gasp. That's super disrespectful to say that to somebody, and also a very basic-ass bitch thing to say. Benjamin, it's a very fair thing to say here. It's not disrespectful. You legitimately need some help. It very much seems like you do. So then he then goes, there's a reason you've been single for this many years, and because no one wants you, and no one cares about you. You're full of shit. Basic, boring loser. He just goes on and even has this little monologue here that ends with him saying, God help any guy that you gets involved with that loose pussy because you're just lame. Mic drop ho. This guy just typed out mic drop ho. He just typed that out. He's over 30 years old. I think he's like 34 years old or something like that. I already forgot. This is a 30-something-year-old man, and he just typed out mic drop ho. To which she responds, I'm sure your TikTok fans will love the way you talk to women when I post these screenshots. And then he's like, you know what? Good luck. I stand by every single word that I just said to you. So, did he stand by every single word that he said? Let's look at his initial apology, which he deleted pretty shortly after posting it, and then also hid replies on. Let's look at his first apology. I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations. I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women. If that's not the biggest red flag immediately, I don't know what else is. I stand by the rights for all humans, and that does include women, those creatures. I am including them in that statement because that's the kind of angel I am. It makes it sound like he's drawing a distinction between women and every other human on the planet, like they're a totally separate species that aren't included in humanity. What an absolute incomprehensible weirdo. I grew up in a home with 3 sisters and no brothers, so I learned very early on the importance, power, love, and abilities women have. They deserve to be cherished and uplifted and treated with respect, and that's how I live my life. I do not condone the statements or accusations that have suddenly been hoisted upon me, and I hope to speak to anyone who feels they have been wronged.
If I was this popular, I would be very fucking careful
I
of
have
what I do.
sisters. I can't.
Even if I was
I
a
have
gay.
sisters. Wait, no, I have 3 sisters. You guys don't understand. I could never do this to women. Like, you're misunderstanding. These are all baseless accusations. I have 3 sisters. I legitimately cannot be mean to women. And not only do I have 3 sisters, but my mother is also a woman. So you should see how ridiculous these claims are now, knowing this context with my 3 sisters and mother. So that should hopefully clear up all of the air here with these accusations. Like I mentioned, he did delete this apology post, but today he did release a new apology on TikTok. He released an apology video, so let's take a peek at that. Also, Ben, I know you're still watching. You probably plan on suing me if I show your apology video, because you've employed this tactic before against other YouTubers. If they've shown clips of your content to make fun of you, you allege that it's stealing your work and you have a legal ground to take it down and come after them. You don't. That's not how that works. Me showing this is not any kind of violation in any way, shape, or form. So if you do try and sue me or copyright claim this video, copyright strike the video, anything like that, I will 100% respond with every single option at my disposal in order to follow this legal case through to its fullest conclusion. So let's check out your apology, brother.
Hey guys, there's a lot being said about me on the internet right now, and I just wanted to clear the air. The first thing I want to say is I'm sorry to anyone that I've made feel uncomfortable.
I love how nonchalant he is about this whole thing, just trying to downplay the situation. Like, if I made any of you feel a bit icky, a little uncomfy, I'm super sorry. That wasn't my intention. You must have misunderstood. It's not what I'm about. When in reality, he would snap, get aggressive, hostile, combative anytime he was denied sex.
I want to say to any girl who I've been rude to, whether through text or in person, that I'm sorry. I understand that me being sorry does not excuse that kind of behavior. I will continue to work on myself and do better. Thanks, guys.
Behold, the first AI ChatGPT written apology. This just ticked every basic box. There's really nothing of value here at all. Just like the quickest, weakest apology, and he's just gonna go forward doing his little, look at this tweet. Like nothing ever happened. So, that's kind of where everything's at. Dog shit apology, dog shit situation. This guy's a big old loser. So, let's use this as a learning opportunity for anyone watching. Don't be like Intellect. That's really about it. See ya. Hello and welcome back to the People I Don't Like corner. Today we have a special repeat guest joining us for the launch of the new season here, Phidias. You might remember Phidias from this iconic YouTube classic where he went to the world's poorest country and tried to turn it into some kind of spectacle. This is actually the original thumbnail from Pyrocynical's video. After the backlash, though, he changed it to his current one, which is this. The video is, I spent 100 hours in the world's poorest country, and basically it boils down to him going, whoa, look at all these poor people. Glad I'm not poor. That's kind of the entire vibe of the video. He tries to put some kind of wholesome, almost altruistic spin on it, but it falls entirely flat when the actual content is him going, oh, you're poor? This is how you live? Oh, ew. Oh! There's even a fucking scene in there where he goes to one of the classrooms and he pulls out his phone and basically just flexes on him saying like, I have the entire world's knowledge at my fingertips.
They are not only from school, they are online from the phone. They can access all the clever minds.
I said this because only 10% of the population has access to the internet. I left the class and felt inspired.
This scene is a particular flavor of Goofy that you don't see that often. It's Goofy mixed with delusion, a very powerful alchemy. If you pay attention to the clip, you can see the teacher give him a really confused look as he pulls out his own smartphone, and Phidias like kind of blocks him with Elon Musk's head as the teacher approaches, and then he cuts to a different clip. And so I'm pretty sure the teacher felt a little insulted here because Phidias is treating everyone there like they're stupid. And it seems like the teacher approaches him with smartphone in hand to just let him know, like, hey, we do have technology here, you don't need to act this way towards us. At least that's the impression I get. Anyway, I'm focusing too much on this video in particular. I'm just using this to showcase why I haven't liked Phidias even before what we're about to talk about today. So this video was labeled as poverty tourism, where Phidias went to this country in order to use everyone there as props for his content to make money off the back of all of it. Half the video is spent saying how cheap everything is to the people's faces. There's also scenes where he goes to where people live and he's noticeably disgusted. It's a bad video, but there were arguments made that it came from good intentions. I don't agree with that. I think Phidias is a narcissist, and his entire intention here was just maximizing views, and spending 100 hours in the poorest country as some kind of YouTube challenge I think is completely tasteless. But the reason I mention that is because what he's done today has no arguments in support of Phidias. What he did today is going across Japan for free. That was his challenge video. And fundamentally, it's him just filming a series of crimes that he commits in order to go across Japan for free.
I'm going to travel across Japan for free against these 3 YouTubers, and the winner gets $10,000. So I ask a stranger to give me some money. Oh my God, I love you.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you're going to get the idea pretty quickly here. It's not just him doing it. He roped in 3 other YouTubers to be accomplices in the crime, which apparently in Japan is a pretty serious crime from everything I've read. The refusal to pay for the services of public transportation is treated as a pretty serious offense. More serious than this face I'm about to make. So you know that it's not something they take lightly. I've also read from a couple of sources that they're considering like an actual investigation into this situation, though I don't think anything's 100% confirmed there. But regardless, what he has done is still illegal. Now, in the beginning here, he asks a stranger for money so he can pay for the bus. I guess that counts because he's not using his own money, thus he is still traveling for free.
To go down, so hopefully he doesn't ask me to pay.
Get off?
Yes.
680. Yeah.
6.
18.
No.
18.
No.
Police.
No.
Come on, police station. 80
Because I was 80 yen short. In the police station, they started interrogating me and they took my phone away, so I couldn't feel anything.
Good lord, even the brain worms inside of his noodle must be in agony. When his neurons are firing, it just produces nothing but trash. The cloud-poisoned mind that this guy has is so impressive, I think it actually deserves to be studied at some point. Just taking a peek at his frontal lobe and his thought process would be insightful. He gets detained for 5 hours in Japan, and the number one thing he was concerned about is he wasn't able to film it. I don't know how you even end up that fucked up. That is so degenerate and so embarrassing. He said the police eventually let him go and covered the 80 yen that he was short, so I imagine they just got unbelievably annoyed with this goober and said, enough is enough, we can't take the headache any longer, get the fuck out of here, we'll cover it, just leave us alone. So they send him on his way and he immediately goes and commits a series of crimes.
So the police already knows me, so I'm going to disguise myself. Now, being disguised, I'm ready to sneak in the train. This is my train, so let's hope that nobody gets me. And now it's time to teach you how to get the train for free. So I'm entering the train, and I will find the toilet and go straight to the toilet. Here is the bathroom. I will just lock myself the whole time in the bathroom.
Man played Assassin's Creed one time and thought a hoodie up would solve all of his problems. It'd just be the perfect disguise. All the NPCs around him would forget that he exists as long as the hood's up. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough. He beelined straight to the bathroom in order to ride for free all the way to his destination. But it's the bathroom. People are going to need to use that at some point, so he gets some knocks on the door, and it starts to cause a little bit of an alarm from the authorities there that something is awry. You know, either this man's taking the biggest shit of all time, or the shit just took him. Or, the most likely explanation, this is a guy who's writing for free. He's breaking the...
What do you do for your sensitive skin?
Put lemon in it and then baking soda, charcoal, toothpaste.
Up for trying the new Dove Sensitive?
Yeah?
New Dove Sensitive Care Body Wash with Ceramide Nutrient Cream. Helps strengthen skin barrier for healthy, resilient skin.
Dove sensitive, absolutely for me now on.
New Dove Sensitive Care.
the law right now. So the authorities wait for him to get out of the bathroom.
So I came to my destination now. I think he's waiting for me outside. And I was right. He was just waiting to catch me. So the only thing I could do is to pretend that I'm sick. When I sat down, he released me, and immediately I started running. But he called the police, and they are searching for me now. We're definitely getting in trouble here.
So the officer's got him in like a WWE lockup here. He's got him, caught with his pants down, and eventually Phidias wiggles his way free and says that the cops were called on him, so he's trying to beat them to the next train so he can continue his crime spree. Now, I'm going to break the magician's code here and just speculate on something. I think this part is probably fake. I think it was real that he didn't pay and wasn't planning to, but when he did get briefly apprehended by the authorities there, I think what most likely happened is he paid for the ride he had just experienced, and then is only pretending that he ran away from them. I don't think even he is stupid enough to try and evade arrest like this. You would actually have to be one of the biggest fucking idiots on the planet to do this, and also film it. I just can't believe that there's enough whippets in the world that you could hit that would damage your brain enough to think that any of this is a good idea. But he is a YouTuber at the end of the day, which means he probably is just fucking dumb enough to really do this and think that it's smart, all while filming his entire crime spree.
There are ticket inspectors on the train, so I'm hiding in the toilet. This is stressful, I'm not gonna lie. It's getting to my nerves.
Luckily, the train has arrived before the police could find me. Again, we're going to do the same method, toilet. I can't believe that this is real and not a movie.
It'd be the most boring movie ever. I just think the whole concept of the video is dog shit. Traveling across Japan for free isn't an interesting concept. You can do anything for free. I'll just go ahead and spoil it for you. If you want to be a criminal. Right now, you could go to the store and get a 100% discount off any item if you just take it and run. It's not like they've come up with like a clever plan or anything remotely interesting or entertaining. They just go to the shitter on the trains and sit there until they reach their destination. That's it. It's so fucking lame. It's just committing crimes. All you are doing is committing crimes and recording all of the evidence of what you've done. Assuming, of course, it's real, which you never really know for sure. I think there's a good chance that all of this was real, but I also think there is a chance that it's fake, where they did just pay for their trip and pretend that they didn't. Though in the beginning, I am confident he did actually just try and exploit the kindness of that Japanese person who gave him money for the bus, and then refusing to cover what was missing and then spend 5 hours in the police station. All of that I think was legitimate, but I think there is a chance that all of the free train rides were faked. Because I really just can't imagine a world where this fucking goofball ran away from the authorities after he was caught in the bathroom after not paying. So that's just my working game theory there, but regardless, it sucks. This guy sucks. And speaking of exploiting kindness, I really just can't stand the way this guy interacts with the people around him. He treats all of them like they're NPCs. He really does. So a lot of the video is spent hitchhiking towards the end, where they're all getting like different rides from different strangers to where they need to go. And all of the people giving them the rides are absolute sweethearts. And Phidias in particular films all of it, of course, and just the way he talks to them makes it sound so condescending. Like he speaks to them like he thinks they're stupid. Like, that's the impression he gives off, that everyone that he interacts with is beneath him because they are props to him. And I can't fucking stand it. He pinned a response to this whole thing by saying, "Hello, beautiful people. I apologize to the Japanese people if we made them feel bad. That was not our goal. From now on, I am going to make more research to the cultures we go to and try to prevent this from happening again. I love you all." Actual 0 out of 10 response here. If this was a YouTuber apology tier list, this would be the biggest, fattest fucking F I could ever give. What are you talking about? You need to do more research on the cultures you go to prevent this from happening? Every